Hello, people of YouTube. I am the Brazen Architect, and I wanted to talk about something real quick that I made note of yesterday. I've experienced this many times. Everybody's experienced this. You know when you get something, right? And then for some reason there comes a point where there's a dissonance on the inside of you, and it's like almost painful because you know you've outgrown this thing, but you it's like your ego wants to hang on to it because it's safe, it's secure, you're already there, you already have it, you're already with this person, whatever. But you know that there are other things that you would rather evolve into. And so this thing is like no longer working for your higher self. You know, you're always ascending if you're gearing yourself into the right things. And in the manifestation community, we all technically are and should be, if we're not. And that's the ultimate goal. And so I noticed, like, through this year, I've talked previously about, you know, what kind of a year I've had in 2026, and it's just been absolutely incredible, noteworthy. In my own life, I mean, it is unprecedented. I've never seen a year like this. Such an amazing year. And so I manifested this job, right? And the way it came in was pretty cool, pretty, synchronous and all that. And I remember in like April or March of 25, I remember I just had a month where I just went into complete solitude at the job that I was at, and trust me, it was a very rough job. But I kept a good attitude through the whole thing, and I remember it was the first time I'd really meditated in like a few years, not fully to get something, but to be in some kind of a different state that would be more peaceful, right? So it's like building up my peace last year. And I remember, I had one interview, I didn't make it. They told me to stay on it. There will be another job at some point, but just hang in there. It's like, all right, cool. And they had my back. These people didn't even know me. It was like they just vouched for me. And it was pretty incredible. So, eventually, long story short, I got the call in April. And but before that, I remember I was like imagining how wonderful it would be, and like the 3-day weekends and all this stuff in a traditional corporate workspace. It's kind of like the best within the worst. I'm not big on traditional jobs, to be honest. Like, who actually, if we all had the option to do our own thing, most people probably would do it. I noticed, like, I got into it, and I remember I was almost like depressed for like the first little while during the job, because I thought it was like depressing. I was like, this is it. Like, I mean, I'm blessed to have like 3-day weekends, and you just quickly start to kind of see the flaws in it. And of course, I moved past it. I began to enjoy it. I kind of snapped out of that little weird fog there in 25. And then I had like second half of the year, I was working a lot. I guess you could say I was enjoying it, but I was kind of like I was kind of torturing myself, just carrying through like a shit ton of hours. And I'm a big fan of like overtime and stuff like that, but I slowly come to the point where I'm just like, I only want to work the 40. I don't want to have to sit here and do 55, 60 hours a week to make the dream work. I think I'm better than that, right? Some people might not like to hear that, but it's true. And so I was able to like shuffle around. I really wanted out of the first place I was at. So, um, I made the goal to get out, and I was able to get out once again in a very like synchronous way. It happened, and it was just incredible. And then here I am in 2026. I finally got my peace and quiet. I'm probably on the best shift that you can be on with the best people you could be with. And I'm still like yesterday, I just got back from a vacation. It's like, okay, I cleared the burnout that I was on, before I went on vacation. And I get back and I remember I go through the whole shift and I'm good on the inside, right? Like I'm always monitoring myself. I'm always trying to manage myself, not obsessively, but just to kind of gear myself back into the absolute best state I can be in at all times. So, or at least categorize what's bullshit and what's not. So, I just remember I had like this realization, like I've had so many good things happen at this job. I got like a multi-dollar raise just moving from that first plant to the second plant. And the second plant is just better all around. It's got AC, all this stuff. And it's cool and stuff, but it just quickly, I've only been there for a couple of months. And it's already, it would be upsetting to most people to feel like that. And you would be like, your ego's like, don't be ungrateful, or like, it could be so much worse. And I want you to look at like how bad it could be. But then your 40 self has to be like, focusing on like what's better for you. What's better for you? What works for you and your higher self? They say, what does your higher self want? Well, that, but you keep focusing on the shitty end of things, like, oh, this is as good as it gets. I can't say, that's always a thing that's always kind of pissed me off to hear. I don't ever want to think like that, like I'm stuck somewhere. And I remember yesterday, right before I left, I just got this like thing. I'm just making notes of this. And it was that dissonance is the best way I can describe it. It was a very dissonant thing, and I get very like frustrated for a second, and I didn't really spiral. I just stepped back and took notes of it, and it's like, okay, so I'm still reacting like this, and it's almost like I'm doing something I really, really, really don't want to do, right? And I said, that's not why I came to this job. I didn't come to this job to put myself through this like unwanted suffering or anything like that. So basically, I've been working on a business model, and doing my own thing, and I just realized that like my mind is being geared towards that now. And so where it comes back around to manifesting is that you may see these things and they may like feel bad. It wasn't a reaction. I think that was a bad word to use. It was more just like a natural response, is me being repulsed by the traditional corporate job that truly it's got no meaning. You're just making somebody else money. I work with decent people, but nothing is really helping me tide this over, right? So I noticed, that's why I was able to step back. It wasn't a reaction. I wasn't like super pissed off, but I can kind of see where that would come from if I were to be pissed off or all of a sudden frustrated with my job. So, and it's because it's actually a good thing. You've outgrown it. You are actively outgrowing it. Don't do anything irrational, but just keep in mind that you need to keep working in the direction that you're working in, because you're doing something right. You're on the inside. You've already sacrificed the absolute. We say security, but like no job like that, especially, is secure. I'm trading that. You're trading it off. So it's like if you're now the I am who is running your own shit, making your own schedule, making your own work, then that is what's going to take over. You know what I mean? So it appears like a bad thing, like you're ungrateful or your ego wants to kind of like talk you down and back down from it. And that's the whole game right there. And it's building that toolbox that I mentioned in my other video of labeling that. You already know that's ego trying to keep you in the same boat. It's not evil. It's not bad. It's just trying to, keep form on something that you're used to and you felt the most safe with. So, you have to reestablish your form somewhere else. And, the ego may chime in. But once again, the toolbox, the categorizing these thoughts real quick on the fly, that is the absolute best shit that you can do outside of directly, working on your self-concept. I've already said stopping OCD affirming and shit and all that. Just a side note, stopping the OCD affirming and the fear affirming and the being scared of this and that, and just forgetting about it and going straight to self-concept is the absolute manifestation nuke, I've come to realize. Some people just tell you it's self-concept, it's your self-concept, you need to build your self-concept. But you don't really know how to apply sometimes, especially like the newer folks. It took me a long time to get this, but this is the cheat code. There really is no cheat code, but that's it. That's the mechanics. So this dissonance that I feel, really, when you feel that pit in your stomach, like literally just reframe the feeling. It sounds weird. Reframe the fear. It's like, that's the old self, and the old self is dying, right? If it's producing a fear, it's trying to control you, right? And keep you back in that bubble. I've seen so much recently. I've had days of I love talking about ego backlash because it's such a common thing. Everybody experiences it probably every day because we're always changing. And it's just there to keep you in that old form. And we're here, this whole study, this whole mechanics is learning it, and applying it is to allow you to create a new form and hold the form. And once your ego gets used to that new form, then it's going to get comfortable in that. And then you're going to want something else, and you're going to have to expand and constantly ascend to the point of just straight up winning this whole thing. You know what I mean? And anyways, I've had quite a few points that I actually want to, do more. I have a lot of video ideas. But anyways, you just stay tuned for that, and I am developing a link tree that's going to have all the necessary links in there for people to schedule a consultation. Just kind of like a get to know the situations or people's backgrounds and stuff like that. I'm really here to talk to people about this stuff, and I think I could help. I know I could help people. I got a lot of stuff to say. I have a lot of experiences, crazy, awesome experiences. And I still have things unfolding. I still have things that, I'm looking forward to and stuff like that. And so, yeah, just stay tuned and check the links in the description. I'd be happy to talk to you. I got to get all that structured out pretty soon here because I want to get this, party rolling, and I want to hear about you. So anyways, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.